Hey, I missed you. It's been a while. All weekend away. We're back. Camp's rolling. Everybody's rolling. Things are happening. We're looking at teams. We're starting to get a little bit of a sense for things. We're not going to talk about him today, but Aaron Rodgers is throwing interception after interception, and I mean, calm down on camp stuff. It's fun. I'll tell people to calm down on camp stuff, but I'm enjoying that. That'd be pretty fun for me if maybe he just doesn't have it anymore. Maybe that bone didn't heal right. Maybe he's gonna suck. That would be spectacular for the Vikings fan and me. It'd be terrible for the league and everybody who bet him as chalk for MVP. And I haven't seen comeback player of the year, but that is not what we're talking today. We're taking a little spin out to the Bay Area where we're gonna decide on a couple teams. That's either one team that everyone's kind of shitting on and one team that the bandwagon has exploded. So, Will, what do you got today? Where are you? I guess it's a slow walk to the outdoors today.
Yeah, man. I got.
Are you here? Are you here?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Where are you
Am I
at?
coming in?
Out in the courtyard again. I'm
Out in the courtyard. Yeah.
in the car.
You got the car. You got the car
Car
seat primed.
seat. Car seat.
What? It said I left the call.
That's not great.
No. What's up with that?
Oh, you're back. Somebody's fucking with your computer.
Oh, that might be the case. Huh. Well,
That'd be fun. That'd be fun if someone's just sitting in your office watching us talk. What's up, Ramnod?
It could be.
Yeah. What? You pick one. Which team do you want?
Well, I'm higher on the Raiders for sure. Okay. So we're going up to the Bay area. I'm higher on the Raiders for sure.
The city by the Bay.
Let's talk about the Raiders first. There's just sort of a never-ending trickle of great news that came out of their camp. End of last week, through all the weekend, it's just people are just drinking the John Gruden Kool-Aid. They can't stop raving about these rookie defensive players. Everybody in Oakland feels like they got an absolute steal in Jordy Nelson. I'm feeling like I have underrated them all throughout the offseason here. I feel like they were one of my most solid looks for a wins under when Gruden took over, and he had some of the press conferences where he was just spouting absolute nonsense.
Just hot garbage takes.
Right, and then they signed Tom Cable away from the Seattle Seahawks, who I think was the worst. Period. It's full stop. The worst coordinator.
The history of the NFL.
Yeah.
He's not. I don't even know if he's a great offensive line coach.
Yeah, he was so bad. Anyway, all of that made me very, very ready to sell on the Raiders this year, and now I'm starting to rethink things a little bit. The only real red flag is Khalil Mack still hasn't shown up for training camp, which is not good because you absolutely need him on the field for as many snaps as possible to have that defense be worth a damn. The defense was an enormous liability last year. They could stop no one.
Yeah, when did they fire Norton? That was I didn't fact check this, but
about 8 weeks too late.
Yeah, mid of the year they did fire Mr. Norton. It was oops. I'm just gonna ignore that one.
I'm still here. Your sound changed.
Norton got fired. Obviously, Del Rio got fired at the end. People be calling me. They were 12-4 the year before. They were 6-10 last year. So that's quite the fall. Like that. That's I mean, that's how people get fired. That's a problem. I don't think I could disagree that maybe we were a little hard on them. They could be a better team. But if we're going off the relative 6-10, then maybe they're a better team as far as being like an 8-8 team. The stuff that Gruden says, I want to throw it back to 1998. I don't like that. If the defense isn't, if these rookies aren't, it's early in camp. If the rookies don't come through, that could be a problem with the offense. Derek Carr, the broken leg 2 years ago, back fracture last year. He only did miss. I mean, when that happened, they were talking a big chunk of time that he was going to miss, and he ended up only missing one game, which
that's kind of
you
crazy.
don't want to start EJ Manuel. That's not great either. But
No,
yeah, the Jordy signing, we'll wait and see. Everybody's rosy and sunshine on everything this time of year in camp. It's really gonna. There was a quote, somebody just shared it in a chat, that Amari Cooper said, "We're gonna run the ball a lot," which I don't know if that's what you want to do if you sign. Well, I mean, you still have one of them, and now you sign Jordy. You have some decent tight ends. I don't know about as far as receiving out of the backfield, but you could have a good passing offense, and they're deciding to go the other way. So I don't love them. I don't see a ton of betting value against the win total of 8. I think that's pretty spot on. We'll probably dive deeper into that when we deep dive into the AFC West here soon. But they're minus 200 to miss the playoffs. So
that's crazy. I guess that's a fair point. When we were in the offseason, I was like, this team has 5-11 written all over them. If they even replicate 6 wins, I was going to be impressed. But I've kind of warmed to the tune of exactly like you're saying. This is maybe feels more like an 8-8 team. The defense has some young playmakers. They'll have some games where they show out and kick ass, and they're competitive and kind of lifts the whole team up probably. But I definitely, I mean, I like. So I'm probably not going to end up betting on the win total or to win the West because I don't think they're that good of a team. But or yes, no in the playoffs based on that number you just quoted.
And I guess I wish it were a little bigger, but I'm gonna have to look into this as we go through our previews. The AFC is kind of wide open. An 8-8 team might be a wild card team. There's definitely some open spots to be had in the playoffs. And
well, an 8-8 team,
if the defense comes around, what would you say Gruden's best team ever was? I mean, this is an easy question. Softball for you.
The team that lost in the Tuckle game, probably.
Yeah,
I thought,
and I would say that, and then obviously like he was a grinded out kind of offense, and honestly, the Raiders teams, I don't know if I'm gonna go asterisk on them, but I'm a full subscriber to the Balco rumors. Like, hey, Oakland's really good with a bunch of old fucking players, and then Balco shuts down, and they're not.
Know?
Yeah, you never. Yeah, but and let's talk. I mean, it's Super Bowl team. It was Brad Johnson and a bunch of, I don't know how many guys. I mean, they're all in like the Tampa's Hall of Fame, but I mean, Simeon Rice, Sapp, Derek Brooks, Barber, and if he can get a good defense, that's the kind of team he can do well with. But they're young. I don't know about Carr's health. It just feels like a middling team to me.
Yeah, I think they're definitely fragile on the offensive line. If they sustain any injuries, Carr is most susceptible to rush up the middle. If you can get pressure on him up the middle, he turtles and he's terrible.
And if you want to talk about disaster season, here's a good sign of a disaster season is when you have to come out and defend yourself and say, well, we didn't purposely let Derek Carr get hit. Like the Miko Grimes stuff, like just the Raiders have been kind of a spectacle for a few years. And granted, I mean, 12-4 2 years ago, they were not that far off from being. I mean, they were one of the teams that had some high expectations, and maybe that's something that lends itself to why we were so hard on them last year, going 6-10. Like, they had a 12-win season. They were supposed to be good. They were probably favorites to win the West.
Yeah.
And they shat the bed. So
I also think one of the reasons it was fair to be hard on them in the offseason is they gave Gruden $100 million, and they gave Derek Carr $100 million. And like this is a coach and a quarterback combination that I don't think I'm not $200 million committed that they're good over the long term. And that they're going to be the Super Bowl contender with those two as your franchise cornerstones. So it doesn't really hurt the cap, right? And it's they're moving to Vegas, so anything's possible. I guess the feel I really have for the Raiders, and we'll get into this week on the podcast I've been looking forward to for weeks now, where we break down the situational schedules. To me, at least, the Raiders really have a schedule that lends itself to knowing when to back and fade them over the course of the season. starting
Yeah.
right out of the gate. They're at home, Monday Night Football, Week 1. That's an awesome spot to back a home team. They're 3-point dogs to the Rams, who everybody thinks is going to the Super Bowl. I love them in that spot to pick up a win, definitely cover the 3. And then from there, hopefully expectations change and people are like, whoa, maybe the Raiders are good. They just beat the Rams. And then on short rest, they head up to altitude to play the Denver Broncos, who will have been at home for months and months. A full 4 weeks they'll have been at home, adapted, comfortable, feeling good. And I think the Broncos are going to just drop a nuke on the Raiders in Mile High. And so I like I'm hoping that there's a really
don't
nice,
give all the spoilers
valuable
away
line on
for the
them.
pod there.
Yeah, right.
And,
but those are my 2 favorite Raiders takes going into the season. Is Week 1, I like them to pull off an upset against the Rams, and Week 2, let down against the Broncos. So, and then from there, there's a lot. I got a lot more on the Raiders, actually. Like I said, of the teams, you look across the schedule and you're like, don't really know how things are going to play out. Crazy things could happen. I feel like with the Raiders, at least, the path looks relatively predictable, so to speak. So I'm excited about that from a betting angle, from a betting standpoint. Is there any betting value on the other team in the Bay as we head south?
Yeah.
As we head south,
the ultimate in hype train.
Yes,
It's happening.
It is. Which are you? Were you knocked out of your socks by the Marquise Goodwin videos that were circulated this weekend? I mean, it seemed like, of people who had, I guess the guy who had the best weekend from a social media perception standpoint, I feel like Marquise Goodwin's up there. Granted, was that Trey Turner?
Trey Turner, yeah.
That's your guy.
No, he is fast. I mean, he's Olympian. He is a track star. He went to the Olympics in the long jump. I'm pretty sure he does a bunch of events, but I think that's his best. He's fast as shit. And Suma had a great point, because I'm like, boy, Richard Sherman, everyone's like, oh, he's so fast. I'm looking at Sherman not getting a jam on him and then just getting toasted. But to be fair, Sherman, Achilles injury, he's probably not pushing it super hard right now. He's not an idiot. He's gonna ease back into things. He knows he's got a full season ahead where he's gonna have to run with some guys. He can't be blowing that thing out again right away. And I mean, obviously, it's a good time to get injured. When we pulled up that stat, and boy, we should write something up on this. I pulled up everybody who blew an ACL last year. And
put that in a post for sure.
Much better chance of blowing an ACL before the season starts, apparently. Yes. That's just way more people blew ACLs in the preseason camp and all that. So, are you on the hype train? Are you on the Jimmy G hype train real quick?
I think I'm going to be I'm going to have standing room only seat on the hype train. I certainly don't have I don't have a box, a private car where I have a full kind of full subscription to the hype train here. I'm marginally on board, and really it's just because I think he can be an efficient passer, and I think in a Kyle Shanahan offense, that's really your key. And if you can develop a little bit of chemistry with a guy like Goodwin, who's fast as hell, if you can, if you can get guys who are marginal receivers rubbed open or schemed open by Shanahan and complete a high percentage of your passes in the kind of the 11 to 15 yard range, then I'm a buyer that they're going to be able to sustain drives, to score points, and to be a reasonable contender for a wild card maybe. All that said,
it's just like the opposite of what we talked about with the Raiders.
Yeah,
the NFC is not wide open. There's super top heavy. There's a ton of great teams. Basically, 75% of the everybody from the NFC West or South was pretty much a playoff team. If you take out sad Tampa, Minnesota, Aaron Rodgers coming back. The Rams are a playoff team. You've got who am I forgetting? Up in there's one in Pennsylvania there.
Yeah,
The Eagles.
the
Yeah,
Eagles. Yeah,
I'm huge on the Cowboys making a resurgence this year. Like the NFC's loaded. It's going to be tough. Jury's out for me big time. Who are the teams that they played over the stretch there? It was
yeah.
what was it? I can't name everybody, but the
They had the
Bears, the
Jags on the road.
Texans,
They had
the
some. Yeah,
Texans,
they had.
and
Yeah,
gosh,
they had the Jags in an absolutely terrible.
the Rams. Yeah, the Rams doing a. Sorry, I just cut out there a little. The
Yeah,
Rams were playing the B squad there. Like
yeah.
it
Right.
wasn't the starting squad. I'm
Yeah,
struggling with this camera right now. But either way, there
yeah.
was some lower ranked defense. I mean, you can say like, oh, Texans have had a good. Well, not with everybody hurt. The Texans had a low ranked defense last year. The Bears had a low ranked defense.
Yeah.
It was a small sample size where people didn't have a lot of tape on them
Yeah.
and they didn't really know what to game plan for. And some of those games were meaningless. Just as far as teams that were already out of the playoffs, Cardinals were out. It's really tough to gauge them. It's real wait and see. They're not going to get any bets from me one way or the other just because I am so wishy washy. And I guess I'm not on the hype train, but it wouldn't surprise me if he turned out to be a pretty good quarterback. He's
If
come
you,
from a good system. He's been
yeah,
he's been hanging out with Tom Brady for most of his career. And
yes.
that's got to
So
come for something.
here's some thoughts on the Niners. Last season, you could see a terrible season coming a mile away when you looked at their roster. Right, the depth chart, it was so lean. There was nobody in so many important positions, and it was just like, wow. Like, people think that this team can win 5-6 games. I forget what their win total was, but it was not. It was relatively, medium high, and it was like, there's no freaking chance. I had a huge.
That was like a full season bad beat. Like
Yes,
if you had that under, you're like, oh shit, I picked it. The Niners suck, and then
so bad. Yeah, and
so
you see
just gonna
Beat
rattle
Hard
off some
roll
wins.
out, and you see Beat Hard take over from Brian Hoyer, and you're like, cash it early. This is a no doubter. And then they trade for Garoppolo, and everything. It changes the whole outlook of their season. I'm sure that the guys subscribe to him being a great leader and feeling like they have a chance just because he's a legitimate quarterback. But even more than that, it doesn't change the fact that the defense still has enormous holes all freaking over the place. They have a very, very. I don't see them being able to put together meaningful pass defense over the course of the long this year. I think they're going to really struggle in that area of the game. And when you're playing the loaded NFC, just like you laid it out, the NFC is absolutely stacked. And as you kind of make your way through this minefield, and there's tons of great passers that you're going to face this year. If you look at the schedule, there's just there are a lot of dynamic offenses and very, very dangerous passers on their schedule that they're going to have to deal with. And I don't think the defense is going to be able to get them into the win totals where they really are threatening for a playoff spot.
No.
But
not in the NFC.
Not in the NFC. Right. All that said,
There'll be four or five teams or people. You'll hear this take at the end of the year, be like, boy, if they were in the AFC.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, they would have been a playoff team. That's tough for them. So.
Right, I can totally see a scenario play out where they underwhelm and underimpress and burn people all throughout the first half of the season, and then as they kind of start to come together as a defense and their defense grows a little bit, they start to win games down the stretch again, maybe, and then coming into next season with a little bit more talent on the roster, potentially they'd be a little bit more dangerous of a team. But I think we're still a year away for San Francisco. Let's wrap this up and talk. You want to talk about the new website, and I'll go shut it down?
Yeah, I'll talk to you later, Whale. You go do your thing. Yeah, I wish I could remember the name of the new website. You were gonna pop your like I haven't. I didn't even write it down. You're gonna need to unmute your thing and help me out with that. Either way, you know what?
The Deep Dive Media.
DeepDiveMedia.com. I couldn't think of the third word. Fuck, that was awful. Well, nobody like types out a website anymore. That's not a thing. You click on a link, so it'll be obviously in almost everything we tweet from here on out. It's just a great place that we should have done a long time ago. Host all the podcasts, to host the videos, to host the written content. Just kind of a nice hub for everything. We've already got a guest article. Caleb Gehring wrote a nice article on there. hopefully look for more of that. We're gonna just expand to anything we feel like writing about. Hopefully, I just felt like maybe I was wasting my time a little with Medium. It's going to be a lot nicer to actually put some stuff and have it be ours. So definitely give that a visit, especially through camp and the NFL season. We're going to stay pretty active on that. Putting some thoughts to paper, putting a spot where you can access all the podcasts, all the videos, and everything. And then, as always, subscribe to this on YouTube, follow us on Twitter, hit us up on Twitter if you've got anything you'd like discussed, any questions, any hot takes or if you'd like to shoot down our hot takes on the Raiders. So until this time tomorrow, I'll see ya.